Hi, this is Shabelle TV. Welcome to the news in English, live from Mogadishu. With me, I am Omar Noor. The top headlines include: Puntland has announced it cut off their cooperation with the federal government of Somalia. Somali president travels to Baidoa to open a reconciliation conference to end the current electoral stalemate in southwest state of Somalia. Egypt has reaffirmed its support to Somalia in the fight against Al-Shabaab militants. U.S. military airstrikes in Somalia has increased since the deployment of the troops back to the country in May last year. Somali Prime Minister is on three-day visit to Egypt, where he is holding talks with his Egyptian counterpart. United States President Joe Biden has paid a first visit to Mexico for talks on the migration crisis. Somali Prime Minister His Excellency Hamza Abdi Barre is on three-day visit to Egypt, where he received a warm welcome from his Egyptian counterpart upon his arrival in Cairo's presidential palace. Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Egyptian government, Sami Shoukry, met on Monday with his Somali counterpart, Abshir Omar Harouse, to confer over the blistering bilateral relations and coordination on matters of mutual interest, capitalizing on the momentum and the ties between the two Arab League member states are experiencing. Minister Abshir Harouse is visiting Egypt as a member of the Somali delegation led by Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre. Minister Shoukry underscored Egypt's full solidarity with Somalia in the face of terrorism, as well as constant readiness to support the Somali forces in that realm of the help the country deal with the daunting humanitarian developmental challenges ensued from the drought. This addition providing medical and food aid to Somalia. The Egyptian minister stipulated that Egypt is keen on security stability in Somalia, given its strategic location in the Red Sea and Gulf of Aden, the press release has indicated. The two ministries tagled the MOU will be signed by the prime ministers of both countries during the visit. The status of security in Somalia and the Horn of Africa nations, as well as the ways to supporting the peace process carried out by the AU mission in Somalia. On his side, the Somali Minister of Foreign Affairs has lauded the existing cooperation with Egypt in values of the healthcare, education, among others, highlighting the Somali people's confidence in Egypt. Barry also thanked Egypt for delivering training courses to Somali professionals and granting scholarships to the Somali students. Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi has received Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud in July in Cairo, where the two leaders have signed a cooperation deal on the mutual interest. Egypt is among the Arab League member states who are supporting Somalia in the recovery process. Relations between the federal government of Somalia and the federal member state of Puntland has been deteriorating since the conclusion of the recent consultative talks between the leaders of the federal government and Puntland State as well. Puntland State in Somalia said it would not cooperate with the Somali federal government and operate as an autonomous government until the federal government drafted constitution and a referendum was held. Puntland said in an official statement on Monday that it would negotiate with the federal government on its own terms on the completion of the federal constitution, political agreement on power sharing, security arrangement, and international aid sharing agreement. According to the statement, Puntland will continue cooperating with other federal member states. It added it will allow its ministries to cooperate with their federal member states' counterparts on development and humanitarian projects. Puntland said that the federal government of Somalia should prioritize liberating the country from Al-Shabaab and other insurgency groups as they settle the long-standing political questions in Somaliland and Puntland before finalizing Somali's federal system. There should be agreement to settle Mogadishu's political status, the federal system, and the constitution harmonization of the federal and Puntland constitutions before holding a national referendum. Puntland State President Saeed Abdullahi Deni, speaking on Sunday night at a ceremony commemoration his 4th anniversary in office, accused the federal government of carrying out plans to return a centralized government in Somalia. He said he refused to sign 2 articles at the most recent National Consultative Council meeting because they were against the federalism, as he put it. During the meeting in Mogadishu last week, 4 of the 5 federal member states leaders, not including Puntland, agreed on a national security framework and delineated powers at the federal and state levels with the federal government of Somalia. Somali federal government's immediate goals for this year include achieving political stability, completing the constitution, building a national institution, especially elections and constitutional commissions in Somalia. Somali President His Excellency Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has traveled to Baidoa City, the interim capital of Southwest State, to open a long-awaited reconciliation conference aimed to end the current electoral and political crisis in Southwest State regional state. The Speaker of the lower house chamber of the Somali Federal Parliament, Sheikh Adad Madobe, has arrived in Baidoa before the president traveled to the southern city. Security has been extremely beefed up ahead of the president's arrival, and dozens of presidential guards have reached Baidoa as advanced security team. Somali president visits Baidoa for the 2nd time since his election in May last year. That's all for our today's English news live from Mogadishu. With me, I am Omar Noor, and the entire team of the edition will leave you bye for now.